In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a really extra wide platter. This platter is made from 2 hunks of clay. Each are just a little bit under 9 pounds. So I'm just a wee bit under 18 pounds. Remember that a block of clay, if you're buying a normal block of clay from like a US supplier, they are in 50-pound boxes, so it's a little bit less than one of the bags, the 2 bags of clay. Now, the trick to centering something really large is do a lot of centering prior to adding water, so it's a little less messy. You can use your fist, you can use the palm of your hand, Now, I'm centering this in 2 pieces because when you center in 2 pieces, it actually is a little less effort for you, because if you can center one small piece first, it takes a little less work to get the second one on there. Okay, now that I have that first one fairly centered, I'm going to dry my hands, and I'm going to take a rib or a scraper to scrape away all slip that is on the surface. Because I'm going to set another piece of clay on top, if I had slip between the 2 pieces of clay, it would not fuse together well. So, and I should mention, both of these hunks of clay are quite plastic that I'm putting together. Okay, so before I put this one on, I am going to just round out the bottom here a little bit and tap this one, getting this a little bit more even and symmetrical before I stick it on. Okay, now I'm going to stop my wheel, and I'm going to try to position it as centered as I can and smack it down with a fair amount of force. Now, no water on my hands, and I'm going to kind of push these together. There we go. Okay, now I'm ready to add a little bit of water. I also wanted to mention, I forgot to tell you that I'm using my largest bat that I have in my studio. I don't remember how big this is. 18 inches probably. It is a Plastibat made by the Amaco company, but the disadvantage of using a bat this size is that you have to take off your splash pans. But if you're going to throw something really big and you need it off, take it off. But if you don't throw something smaller on a giant bat, if you can use a smaller bat, is what I'm saying. And I also would not attempt to throw anything this large with really stiff clay, because I do have the tendency to get tendonitis in my wrists if I overdo it with stiff clay. So you can see I had started a little bit more narrow and taller, and I'm slowly squishing it down, taking the heel of my hand and slowly pushing it out, while at the same time I'm compressing very hard with my left hand, because you don't want it to come out and then fold over and trap slip or air down here at the bottom. You want to use really good compression to make sure that it's firmly against the bat as you do that. Throwing large like this is the messiest stuff that I throw. I don't know if it showed up in the video, but I have slip that's hurling off the edge of my bat on occasion here, especially since I had to take my splash pans off. So I am making a platter, and I'm going to be putting a double foot ring on this. I will have another video where I show how I trim this, because when you have such a wide, broad interior, if I just put one foot ring, I don't want the center part to collapse. So this will actually have a double foot ring on it. I needed to make a new one of these because my favorite platter I dropped in my kitchen a few weeks back. I knocked it out of my dish strainer when I wasn't careful. So I'm making one to replace it. Okay, now I feel like I have my bottom down and I've compressed it. It is so important that with a platter you have very good compression, not only in the bottom, but also very good compression where it transitions into the wall here, because if you don't have good compression there, like if you just compress the bottom and then you pull up the wall, you'll get a big crack around your outside. My students have trouble with that from time to time, and I always try to explain to them compression, compression. Alright, so now I am going to be pulling up my wall a little bit here. And I'm really compressing between my thumb and my fingers of my left hand while I was pushing down on the side. It helps it to keep it from getting off center. It helps to keep it centered, I should say. Okay, and before I do anything else, I think I'm going to just take a moment, maybe trim this. There we go. Whenever I trim something like that, it does often fall in, then I have to just stop it and take it out. Okay. If you wanted to put, say, a texture or a swirl to catch your glaze, you know, you could add a slight one. I'm not really planning on cutting in this. This is going to be more like a serving sort of a dish. So if I were going to cut with a knife, I probably wouldn't do that. But if I wanted to, say, serve my flank steak or something, I would cut it on my cutting board. Okay, now I'm going to add a little moisture to my rim. I'm going to compress my rim. And I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to add just a wee bit more of a flare. I'm going to decrease the height just a little bit, so it's a little wider. Okay, now what I am going to do with this is I'm going to let it dry, and then when I trim it, I do have a cool tool that I'm going to show you. It's made by Giffin Grip. I regularly use my Giffin Grip when I'm trimming pieces, but a normal Giffin Grip will not fit a piece this large. It goes beyond the size of the Giffin Grip. So what I will do is I will show you this awesome wide edition.